Well, good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, wherever you may be in the world. My name is Stephen Alves, and I am the director and one of the co-founders of Life Logistics. It's my pleasure to welcome you all here today, and on behalf of the team, I'd like to offer a warm welcome to our second virtual familiarization event. Before we get started, I'd like to invite you all to switch over to speaker view on the Zoom screen. You can see the three dots. You can click over and change that to speaker view. Might make it a little easier for you to follow along today. One of the first things we like to do here is just do an open mic to get some questions from you and some answers, and just give you a chance to actually open up right now and introduce yourself and introduce your company, and maybe just a little bit about your participation in the pharmaceutical industry, so we can have an understanding of where you're coming from and the services you provide. So I'm just going to open it up, and I'll look at the screen here, and I see Mr. Malind. Can you please introduce yourself, unmute yourself, and introduce yourself, please?
Hello.
Hi, how are you? Thank you for joining us today.
Yeah, thank you, sir. Thank you. Good evening to all.
Good evening. Yes.
Yeah.
Can you just introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about your
Yeah,
company?
sure. This is Melin Humbratkar from Anova Global Logistics, India. Yeah. It is pleasant to connecting with you, and we are very much excited to get an opportunity to work with your esteemed organization. We are working as a team in Anova Logistics. Okay. And we are handling international multi-freight transportation like air, sea, land transport, land, ocean exports, FCLs, LCL, door delivery, etc. We are also very good in worldwide handling bulk projects like air charter, international trading and supply chain management.
Okay.
We are also handling, hello.
Yes.
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Yeah, we have pharma clients like Cipla, Glenmark, Sun Pharma, Indoco Remedies. We have done many shipments with the various sectors.
Okay. Very
Okay.
good. Well, thank you very much for being
Yeah,
here.
yeah. Thank you.
Next, I'd like to introduce or ask Mr. Bob Schott to introduce himself and his company.
Thank you, Stephen. Earshot is, 44 years old this coming year.
Wow.
I know I look a little older, but we have been in the Washington, D.C. area, but serve throughout the United States and from anywhere in the United States to and from the rest of the world. We specialize in the more complex, sensitive cargoes, things that are highly regulated, things that require careful attention, such as perishables, foodstuffs, and other regulated goods. That's our niche. And we have facilities on Dulles Airport in Washington, D.C. But as a non-asset-based provider, we provide those services throughout the USA, and we're quite happy to serve this community.
Well, thank you very much. It's a pleasure to have you here. I'm just on the West Coast, so a few hours behind you. So nice to see you.
Early good morning to you.
Yes. Thank you very much for being here. I'd like to invite First Move Logistics. I don't know your name. If you could introduce yourself, please. Welcome. Can you unmute yourself first, please? You have your mute on. Perfect.
All right. Thank you for inviting us. My name is Mr. Gildas Dekambi, CEO, First Move Logistics. We are freight forwarder as well, based in Benin Republic, but with an office in Togo. I'm actually in Togo office.
Okay.
We have an office in Nigeria as well. We cover actually West Africa. We're trying to expand, with more offices very soon. We have handled as well in the pharmaceutical aspect. We have handled COVID-19 vaccines from Shanghai up to New Airport in the Benin Republic. We handled about 203,000 doses of Sinovac. So that was a big one for us around March this year. And it was actually a donation from the government of China to the government of the Benin Republic. We handled this with our partner and also our principal, DHL Global Forwarding. We are subcontractors for DHL Global Forwarding in Benin Republic and also in Togo, where I see. So apart from that, we have also handled donations for the United Arab Emirates government, 16 tons of cargo from Dubai up to Freetown Airport in Sierra Leone. We are hoping to handle more and more of these cargoes by air, and also more pharmaceutical goods by, partner DHL Global Forwarding. We handle a lot of cargoes for United Nations, WHO. We deliver, containerized reefer containers up to Niger, where there is no seaport. So all this is done by land, sometimes by air as well. So I'm trying to, join maybe Life Logistics, and then see how it goes, and hope that we can make a lot of business while we're here. Thank you, everybody, for having us.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it. It's a pleasure to have you here. I think most other people still have their don't have their video on. I may call your name and see if you can turn your video on and introduce yourself. Ruslan, are you available to introduce yourself? I think you might be muted now. I can't hear you right now. I don't see mute, but I can't hear you. Maybe volume. Well, let's see if we can. Yeah, we can't hear you right now. I think maybe you're unmuted, but for some reason the volume's not on. But if we get it resolved, I'll come back to you and we'll get you introduced. Tien in Vietnam, how about you? Can you introduce yourself?
Hi, hello everyone. Yes, I'm glad to have a chance to meeting everyone in this conference and discussion tonight. And I'm Tien, and I'm from Sarek, a freight forwarding company from Hanoi, Vietnam, the Southeast Asia. Yes, and talking about the pharmaceutical in Vietnam in this through the pandemic COVID, we also produce and export a lot about gloves to United States and also to Europe. In the other hand, we also import the vaccines and the medical equipment like breast machines for to improve through the pandemic. Talking about us, our company, we are not only handling about the air freight, we're also doing the sea freight as well in both sides, import and export, through the main seaport airport in Vietnam like Hanoi, Ho Chi Minh, Hai Phong, and Cát Lái, Vũng Tàu as well. So I'm welcome and willing to anyone to know about Vietnam. Let's contact to me. Thank you so much.
Thank you for being here. Thank you for your time. I think I saw Alberto. Alberto, can you unmute and introduce yourself, please?
Well, good afternoon. This is Alberto Martinez from Junior Freight Forwarding, Madrid, Spain. I would like to thank all of you, and thanks for the possibility and sharing all information between us. Basically, our commitment for pharmaceutical shipments are based on countries such as Vietnam, Nigeria, Dominican Republic, Cuba, China, Turkey, and Iraq. we used to send around 5,000 kilograms per month to these countries, on average. We used to send also pharma from 15 to 25 degrees, all in conditions for these matters. And that's the main discuss I have to share with you. If you need anything from Spain, from our side concerning air freight or sea freight, we have very good relationship with them, with the main suppliers. So thanks again, and have a great afternoon.
Great, thank you very much. Appreciate it. It's a pleasure to have you here. We're going to go ahead and move on to the next segment to keep the program flowing. And we're going to introduce you now to Life Logistics and what our network is all about, a little bit of how we were started. We've created an introductory video for you, and we're going to go ahead and roll that video now. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. I'm Stephen Alves, Director and one of the co-founders of Life Logistics Network. On behalf of the team, it is our pleasure to welcome you to the Life Logistics Familiarization meeting and to Life Logistics Network as well. Before I begin with introducing Life Logistics to you, I will guide you through the agenda for today. Today's program will last about 30 minutes or so with the following program. After my presentation about the network, we will be having an open Q&A to answer all your questions about our network, followed by the keynote presentation on logistics trends after COVID-19, and then our 2019 after movie. To start with, RW Solutions is a network management company that was founded in 2002 and has its operations in the Philippines. We currently have 7 freight forwarding networks that are into industry niches. Our networks are very much focused on the handling capabilities of forwarders, from perishables, NVOCC, and FCL, to regional and geographical interests like Africa and the Middle East. By having specialized groups, our members engage into more meaningful business exchanges with more valuable networking across our various brands. At present, we have over 900 members from 100 countries under the RW umbrella. Life Logistics is a specialized network of professional pharmaceutical freight forwarders from different territories across the globe. Life Logistics Network has 48 member offices in 34 countries worldwide. I'd like to share with you some of our photos taken during our annual partnership meeting. Now let me jump straight to the benefits of being part of the network. Life Logistics Network is virtually represented in every corner of the globe. And by being part of the network, you will enjoy instant access to your pharma freight partners that you and your business can rely on. Being part of Life Logistics means that you will work with trusted, screened, and reliable partners. Every new member application undergoes a due diligence to screen the company's financial stability, market reputation, sales strength, and length in operation. All members are likewise subjected to standard code of ethics and guidelines of the network, which must be followed and adhered to at all times. Life Logistics assures that every member is diligently screened. In addition, Life Logistics offers payment security for all members as an added layer of security when working within the group. The network has a payment protection program with $5,000 in immediate dispute protection, which will then increase to $10,000 depending on the years of your stay within the network. Through our conferences, we reduce your cost of traveling from country to country to meet your overseas partners because Life Logistics conducts an annual partnership meeting. In this meeting, you'll be able to meet and build contacts with hundreds of agents in one place. The annual conferences and meetings must be attended by Life Logistics members to fortify their relationship with the other members. Since the pandemic, we are also actively adapting to the new normal and conducting virtual conferences for our members. We also promote our members and their services to the logistics industry by attending leading exhibitions in different parts of the world. These include Transport Logistic, CPHL Worldwide, FIATA, the Freight Summit, and many more. Aside from attending leading exhibitions, We also distribute our agency list throughout our global database of around 40,000 freight forwarders. Life Logistics Network will also have its private information environment, which will provide access to exclusive and up-to-date information for the members. We are soon to launch our first Life Logistics Intranet mobile app, enabling ease of access right at your fingertips. Finally, I would like to invite you all to our third annual partnership meeting, which will take place from May 8th through the 11th, 2022 at the Grand Hyatt Dubai. You'll be able to meet our pharma freight partners in person and broaden your connections through our various activities in this 4-day event. Stay tuned as we will be releasing more details about it in the coming weeks. Thank you for taking the valuable time from your busy schedule to attend the Life Logistics Familiarization meeting. And welcome to Life Logistics, the Global Pharmaceutical Logistics Alliance. Our team is at your service to answer any questions that you may have and to help you to apply for membership. Stay safe and healthy during this time, and I look forward to welcoming you soon as a member of Life Logistics. Well, now you've seen a little bit about who Life Logistics is, and a little bit about our history and some of the details of the group. But what I'd like to do now is open up to questions and answers, and we can switch your you can switch your screen back over to a gallery view so you can see everybody and the questions they may have. But let's go ahead and start the questions. I just open it up. If you've got some questions, I'm happy to answer them, and I can see those who have their screens, videos on. Just go ahead and unmute yourself and ask your question, and we'll get it answered for you. So any questions to start off? Okay. Well, I will start off by asking this. I know one of the questions that is frequently asked, and we addressed it a little bit, is how does the protection work? Everybody always wants to know what sort of protection, and within the network, as we said, there is protection. In our list of members, you can see what level of protection they have. So when you're working with them, you know the level, whether it was the 5,000 or 10,000, and you'll know. And as we said, the longer you're in the network, the more protection that you have. And if I'll throw out a question to see if anyone can answer this. Have any of you attended any pharmaceutical logistics conferences or events? And tell us what you might have thought about those. Yes, Swapnil, do you have some information? Thought I saw you unmute. One of the things that we as a group have done, and we introduced that in the video that you saw, is we've attended, on behalf of the members, we've attended some of the industry events. So we've had a booth, or we've attended as a group with some of the members attending and showing our presence there to also market the business for the network. And so we're not just relying on an annual conference for the members to meet together. We're also actively getting out there and marketing the services of the group. We also mentioned in the video about our the background checks. So every member that joins has to provide information of their financial information, and we check against the FDRS, the federal, freight deadbeats, as well as checking references and industry, time in the industry. And so we really make sure that we're not just accepting anybody in the group. We do our background, and we also want to make sure that not only are they financially protected or strong, but we also make sure that they actually are active in the pharmaceutical industry. When we had our initial meeting with some founders a few years back, the key thing that the founders wanted was to make sure that we grow the group specifically around pharma. And so that means they didn't want agents to join into the group to learn how to handle pharma. It's a group where only those who know how to handle the pharma are joining. So you can rest assured that your partners around the world within this network are able to handle to the same level that you would provide for your clients. At this point, are there any questions? Okay. All right. I don't see any at this point, but what we're going to do now is, oh, yes, please. I'm not sure how you say it. Is it Essay?
Hello, it's
Eke?
Ece. Yes, you're very close. I have a question about the network overall. Like when new members join, do we get any notification about it to know? Do we get notified about new members?
Yes. So there's a
Maybe.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, through a mailing system. Do you have such a system?
Yes. So we have not only do we have the email system that we notify everybody of the new member, but we also have a WhatsApp group. Everybody's on the WhatsApp group. And so everybody gets a notification and a welcome to the new member details. And they're added to the member list. And so the new member list goes out.
Thank you very
Maybe
much.
you can take a second and introduce yourself and your company while I've got you on mute.
Thank you very much. It's Ece, as I said, from Limanlar, Turkey. We've been a family company who works over 50 years now here. We're competent in air, road, and sea freight, so you can always reach me for any assistance.
Okay, great.
Okay.
Thank you very much for joining us today.
Thank you very much for having me.
At this point, we're going to go ahead and proceed with the next step of the program, and we're going to be showing our keynote speech, which is done by Mr. Mark Miller. It's a video that he's put together for us, and he's talking about COVID and the impact of COVID on the global supply chain and global supply logistics. So let's take a look and see what Mr. Miller has to say.
Hello, this is Mark Miller, author of the book Global Supply Chain Ecosystems. I am pleased to be able to share with you my thoughts and insights about the COVID-19 impact on global supply chains. We are now on the cusp of a thrilling new era for supply chain. This coronavirus crisis has vividly exposed the profound interdependencies in today's global supply chain ecosystems and powerfully demonstrated the intrinsic risks in our complex, connected, volatile world. In this presentation, I will explore the supply chain ramifications of COVID-19, which is already proving to be a super accelerator of some pre-existing megatrends, including globalization shifts, digital disruption, and the e-commerce frenzy. The next normal will be characterized by uncertainty. But what is certain is that this virus will have significant supply chain implications, both over the short-term 12 to 18 months, but also over the subsequent 2 to 3 year medium term, such that supply chain 2025 will be substantially different on multiple dimensions. The initial impact of COVID-19 was supply-side gridlock, as mainland China went into a coronavirus-induced hibernation just after the extended Chinese New Year holidays. This resulted in global shortages of components and products, making it powerfully and painfully apparent just how global supply chains have become inextricably dependent upon China. COVID then embarked on its own globalization journey, spreading fear and uncertainty around the world as healthcare systems became overwhelmed. Widespread lockdowns ensued, with shops and businesses closing. High street retail came to an abrupt halt, triggering the most dramatic collapse in demand. The exceptions, of course, being medical supplies and equipment, which experienced an unprecedented surge in demand. As consumers became unable or unwilling to venture out of their homes shopping for groceries and household essentials moved online en masse, turbocharging the e-commerce frenzy and generating unparalleled volume growth in small packages for home deliveries. Then, just as China started to reopen their economy and factories were getting back to work, production orders were getting cancelled due to excess inventories and lack of demand. And so global supply chains ground to a halt. As these extraordinary supply chain shocks reverberated around the world, companies are being forced to urgently reevaluate their sourcing strategies, business models, and distribution channels. This inevitably resurfaced discussions about the relocation of offshore production. Let's recap. Nearshoring is the relocation of production activities closer to the market where the products are going to be consumed. Onshoring, also known as reshoring, is one step further, whereby production is moved back into the country where the goods are going to be consumed. These are not new topics. Recall other huge supply chain shocks such as the Fukushima earthquake, the Iceland volcano, and the Thailand floods. They all triggered animated nearshoring discussions, championing the need to relocate production closer to the final consumption markets. However, what typically happens is that enthusiasm for change tends to dissipate as things soon get back to normal, and companies realize the actual enormity of truly reconfiguring their supply chains. But this time is different. This time, I believe, nearshoring will become more than just talk for a number of reasons. Firstly, this COVID crisis is much more severe in impact and global in reach than previous supply chain shocks. The consequences from a supply chain perspective will be much deeper, much wider, much more long-lasting. Secondly, this COVID predicament is intertwined with massive geopolitical tensions between the world's superpowers. Tensions which have already triggered some companies to relocate the production of their US-destined products in order to avoid the US tariffs on China-sourced imports. And thirdly, with the continuing growth in emerging markets and the increase in intra-regional trade, globalization had already become somewhat stalled. And so with the increasing polarization between East and West, coupled with lingering frustrations about differences in business practices, I believe it's inevitable there will be some decoupling, resulting in changes to global trade flows. And so COVID becomes the catalyst that actually stimulates companies into taking real action on reshoring and nearshoring initiatives, which will reduce dependencies and diversify risks, but will obviously result in shorter supply chains. However, relocating your supply chain is much easier said than done. This is not for the faint-hearted. Today's supply chains have been built up and fine-tuned and developed over a number of years, if not decades. They cannot just be readily untangled, packed up and moved elsewhere. This is a serious undertaking, whether nearshoring or reshoring. It's a project that's likely to be measured in years, not weeks or months. And whilst COVID is a catalyst for companies to take action, COVID-related restrictions will inhibit the process of reconfiguring the supply chain by nature of travel, related limitations, and of course the restriction on in-person exchanges. Accelerating the process, on the other hand, will be government incentives. The United States, with much fanfare, has announced grants and subsidies and tax relief for American companies that relocate their manufacturing back into the United States of America and create American jobs. It's not just America. Canada, Korea, some European countries have all announced initiatives to encourage the relocation of manufacturing. Japan, for example, has allocated a 2.2 billion US dollar fund to help Japanese companies repatriate their manufacturing back into Japan and create local jobs. Now, of course, in these first world economies, there's a concern about the high cost of labor. And this is where I believe we'll see automation come readily into play. Robotics and automation are substantially lower cost now than they were 20 or 30 years ago when we started the offshoring globalization journey. And readily available, economically viable automation solutions will ease the process of reshoring manufacturing back into developed market economies. Now, for nearshoring, the key beneficiaries need to obviously be in close proximity to the final consumption market and have lower cost platforms. So the key contenders for the United States market, for example, would be Mexico as the leading contender, leveraging the North American Free Trade Agreement as well. For European markets, Eastern European countries such as Poland, Turkey, Hungary would be leading contenders as nearshoring platforms. So nearshoring will reduce reliance on Asia in general and China specifically, and we'll see the supply chains being typically much more regionally focused and therefore shorter. They could be configured as made in Latin America for America or made in Eastern Europe for Europe. However, this will in no way result in a mass exodus of manufacturing outside of China, but we will see some diversification across the Asia region. Several reasons for this. First of all, we are now firmly in the Asian century. 1/3 of global GDP is in Asia. We are home to 1.8 billion people in the consuming class. And by the year 2030, Asia will represent 2/3 of the world's middle class. So made in Asia for Asia will remain a very viable supply chain strategy for generations to come. And this will enable companies to capitalize on the huge potential across Asia's emerging economies. At the same time, more and more companies will also be diligently exploring their China Plus options, looking for additional locations around Asia for sourcing and production of products and components where there is abundant labor that is lower cost than the China labor has become. Different sectors will have a different mobility, if you like. Garments, footwear, sports goods, furniture, their supply chains are relatively mobile or movable, certainly compared to much more complex products and supply chains like high-tech electronics, household goods, and automobiles. So the leading contenders around the Asia region, they vary by industry segment. But Vietnam, Indonesia, India, Bangladesh, Cambodia, these are all contenders for post-pandemic divergence of production activities that can leverage their low-cost labor markets. However, none of these alternatives can match the huge extent of China's resources. China remains the clear leader in both scale and scope, leveraging its massive infrastructure investments over the last 20 years and its huge workforce. And for that very reason, many supply chains will remain in China, or at least remain China-centric. And that includes all the multinational companies who are selling into China's enormous domestic market, whether they are targeting the consumer or the industrial segments. Such companies will retain within China all their manufacturing, sourcing, and assembly activities for goods destined for sale in the domestic China market in the supply chain strategy that is now known as in China for China. So in summary, the consequences of COVID-19 will result in a step change for global trade as we know it, spelling the end of 30 years of globalization. Post-pandemic, the next normal will see some radical reconfiguration of global supply chains, adopting a much more regional and localized approach. Evolving through to year 2025, we can expect to see widespread deployment of shorter supply chains that increase control, increase responsiveness, and increase resilience, whilst also reducing lead times, reducing transport costs, and reducing emissions, and helping to mitigate risk. And so in times of such great uncertainty, it is best to be prepared. Companies should be planning for the worst, hoping for the best, and always expect the unexpected.
Well, thank you. It's always a pleasure to hear what Mr. Miller has to say. He's got some great insights, and through this COVID pandemic, he's really put out some great information on the global supply chains. It's going to be very interesting to see how the pandemic will affect the pharmaceutical industry. Mark was talking about how there's going to be some more nearshoring, and it'll be interesting to see if that actually affects and changes the pharmaceutical industry, where we know there are certain manufacturing centers in the pharma industry, and I'm not sure that those will actually change, but we'll be obviously monitoring that and see how it affects our particular industry. What I'd like to do now in the next segment is just talk a little bit about what benefits you from what the benefits you would have from joining Life Logistics. I mentioned a little bit earlier about Life Logistics being a vertical network in a niche market, and it makes it a little bit different from maybe a general cargo alliance, in the sense that we really want to focus on making sure the members have the right partners around the world, all focused on providing the top quality service in the pharmaceutical industry. And so that means that you can rest assured that your partners within the network are going to be handling the business the same way that you would, with the same care that you would, which makes it a little bit easier to sell to your clients, your current clients. You can sell, maybe get additional business from them, or even reach into new markets, new clients, because you have this opportunity to let them know that you've got this global network of partners that will handle the business as gently and carefully as you would. And that doesn't just mean from your location to anywhere in the world, but also from point Z to point Q, from B to L. It doesn't matter where in the world it's going, as long as it's moving within our network. Your clients can be rest assured that their product's going to be handled as carefully as you would handle it. We have the annual conferences, and as I said, we are also out marketing the services of our members at events. Now, we haven't had an opportunity to do so in a while because there haven't been any events for us to go to, and we're looking forward to 2022 to get these events back on the schedule and get back out there marketing our services. For the membership specifically, we are offering members today an opportunity to join the group, and we're going to be providing two free conferences to the annual conference that we're going to have coming up next year. And we're happy to be able to meet again in person and to announce that we will be meeting in Dubai. The dates are going to be announced. It's going to be in May at this point, and we're excited to be able to get back together and get our group face to face again. But we're offering the members who join from this meeting 2 free tickets to that. And once you become a member of the group, as I said before, we market that information out to the members, let everybody know that you've joined. We send by email. We've got different ways of communicating through our social media, through email, through our WhatsApp group. And so we're very heavy on the marketing side to promote the services and the group itself. You'll be added to our network agency list, and that goes out to not just our group, but also to our entire mailing list. So that information is widely spread, and so you'll see that you're getting value for being in the group We are having the mobile intranet app that will be launched at our live event coming up in Dubai. And we also have the WhatsApp group, as I mentioned, so the members can communicate amongst each other through the WhatsApp group. Any questions about needing some help or instant or urgent business, everybody can communicate instantly through our WhatsApp group. And as I said before, we've got the partnership meeting coming up. This is going to be our third annual. We've been around a little bit longer than that, but this is only the third time we'll be able to meet in person. So we will be meeting in Dubai in May, and we'll get all the details out to everybody as soon as they're available, but we're really looking forward to getting in person again. Our team is at your service to help you answer any questions you may have about the group and to help you fill in your application and the details that we're looking for, the information that we need to qualify and make sure that you're eligible to join the group. And our team, as I said, is ready to reach out and help you. So please feel free to contact us at any time, and we'll be happy to assist and answer any questions that you may have. Before we conclude today, we talked about this excited to be meeting again in person in May. Well, we're going to go ahead and show our video from our last conference and just show some of the exciting times that we had and just that ability to be face-to-face and discussing business and building friendships. Let's see that video. Well, that was good memories. That was a fantastic conference. Looking forward to it again coming up soon. To conclude, really would like to thank you very much for joining us today, and hopefully we've been able to answer some of the questions you might have had and give you a little bit of information about Life Logistics Network. We're going to be having a survey that we'll be sending to you. It will pop up on your screen, but we'll also send it out to you. And just if you could give a quick answer to that and send it back for our team to evaluate, we would appreciate that. In the meantime, as I said before, we are at your service to answer any questions that you may have about Life Logistics. And we're really looking forward to having you join us and to meeting you in person in Dubai as a member of Life Logistics. And thank you for your time today. And we look forward to continuing our conversation with you about membership in our group. Thank you very much, and wish you a good evening, good night, and good day for the rest of you.